go.
Again.
And we're going to go to the intro. And we're going to fucking play.
What was that? Never mind that. What was that?
Hi!
Who are you?
BARFF!
Not in here, mister. This is a Mercedes.
Nah, that's my name. BARFF!
BARFF? What are you?
And here we go. Our Fantasy Football Podcast. Season 3, Episode 3. Take 3. It's the night of threes. And this sound better be going out somewhere.
Apparently it's working.
Oh,
from what I heard.
That makes me so happy, except it doesn't compensate for the rage I've already felt. So for the rest of the broadcast, I would like our audience to know that I'm a little spent already. Clearly, we just had to reconfigure every audio setting, despite the fact that nothing was moved. And so joining us live tonight in the studio, once again, is the owner of Worst Team Ever. Tyler's here. Thank you for coming in, Ty.
No problem.
And as always, the co-host of the show, the owner of Born to Run, and our defending champions, Walt Mikulski, is here in the studio. Walt, it's great to have you in here tonight.
It's great being here.
All right, what game do you want to start with? This was an off-the-hook week. We had, once again, Monday night craziness going on. We're supposed to have people calling in, but they may have fallen asleep in the interim waiting for us. Walt, where do you want to start?
Well, hey, why not? We might as well start with my game. And, kind of talk about the heartbreak of what Monday night does to you. Robs you of sleep, makes you really angry. All of those emotions were felt on Monday by me.
And Kirk Cousins sucking.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins, man. Just, I don't know what was going on with Kirk Cousins.
Well, I can guess what was going on with Kirk Cousins, but we'll see. Do we have anything? Hold on one second. Do we have a caller on the line? Can I hear, please? Can I hear? Hold on. Do I have the owner of Sody Pantloads, Kyle, on the phone? Do I have the owner of Sody Pantloads, Kyle, on the phone?
Rich, can you hear me?
Oh, there he is.
All
And
hey, first time, long time. Happy to be calling in.
Yeah. Do we have the owner of Boston Beans on the phone? Is Ant there?
You're damn right you do.
All right.
The Chuck Down boys.
Connor, buddy.
Finally. All right. So, let's discuss more this game where Kirk Cousins did not please you with his performance.
Yeah, so going into it, it was a kind of a low-scoring affair between me and the Soaring Eagles. But going in, when it was all said and done, I only needed 15 points from Justin Jefferson. So I was feeling pretty good about that. The PPR leagues were the way they are now. 15 points isn't that tall of an order. But watching Cousins just kind of ignore Jefferson when he was wide open and then throw to him when he was covered tightly, I was beside myself watching the game. It was just really hard to watch.
It's hard. When you are the owner of Justin Jefferson and you are expecting, you tell me if I'm wrong. Well, you're expecting 18 to 24 points a week. Easy. And you get none of that. The frustration level.
Yeah, and it barely, gets into double digits. And the worst part is they strung me along. So every time I'm like, it's over, I'm done. They picked off the ball, the Vikings, and they had a shot there to go in. And then, at the end of the game, they kind of drove the ball down. And then the part I loved is they threw an incomplete on third down, or he got sacked, but then they bothered not to run one more play. I was like, oh, thanks, guys. It's like, oh, okay, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you for nothing.
Ty, when you're looking at Born to Run's game this week, what did you see as a difference maker? Was it this Justin Jefferson performance?
Well, I'm going to go with no because he had 6 points combined out of his two running backs. So if that's your start there, granted, you're only needing 15 from your number one draft pick, you think you would have that. But honestly, you can only do so much. 97 points with 6 points out of your two running backs. Some weeks you just throw in the towel and move on to the next game.
True. Kyle, what do you think? Born to Run coming in, they're our defending champs, and they have this. This is a low-scoring game. This is not the best of games, and I know that there may be a little bias involved in this. Mostly why I'm asking you. What were your thoughts on Born to Run's game this week?
I'm just an owner that's I'm neutral here, no bias necessary. But I think Born Around is the biggest paper champ of all time. His team's got no backbone with their running back, and I think he deserves to lose.
Wow. So let's talk about the Pantlers. He was crying and ready to call it a season. And then all of a sudden, Stephon Diggs gets a couple of touchdowns and his chest starts puffing out. And he just starts talking smack again.
Starts texting in the group.
So I take everything he says with a grain of salt.
Hey, buddy, what's your record? Both 1-1.
Ant, tell me your thoughts on this game for this week. This was Born to Run defending champions taking on the Denver Soaring Eagles, two teams that were looking for some success this year, and it turns into a 101-97 victory for Denver Soaring Eagles.
To be honest, I'm not really sure because I'm walking home from work. But I'm going to just hop on the piggyback of my guy, Sully O'Sullivan there, and call Walt Man a paper champ.
Wow. I think there's going to be an extra heaping of E. coli on some pizzas come this Sunday for a couple of owners.
So let's recap because there's been a lot going on here. So far, this is an off game by two teams. Denver Soaring Eagles defeat Born to Run 101-97. Low scoring output tie by both teams. It's a squeaker for the Soaring Eagles. They both go 1-1. And basically, there's a lot of high emotions about this game. Either way, am I accurate with that?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on with that analysis. We're going to leave it at that.
All right, let's leave it at that. Let's move on to another game. Let's move on to a tale of two teams. Earlier in this season, when we talked about draft recap, and even going back last season, there was a lot of buzz. And I'm going to throw myself in there because this is one of my buzzworthy teams. No lineup needed. Comes into this team looking to prove a point. And they take on last year's juggernaut, came off an off week, Huey Lewis in the news, and again an off week by Huey Lewis as no lineup needed blows up and takes out Huey Lewis in the news 148-98. Walt, what do you think about this game? What was the turning point in this game, and B, are we worried about Huey?
I am. I think, unfortunately, he lost Trey Lance early in the game. So that was tough. You get only two out of your quarterback. That's really difficult to overcome. But even with that, I mean, you look at the differential, the margin of victory.
Right. Trey Lance wasn't going to score 50
I
points
would not
week.
think so. Right. But last week, who knows? I mean, everybody was throwing 40 up like it was nobody's business. But I think the part that Huey has avoided in a lot of seasons, getting through without injuries this year. I don't know if his luck's turning on him because Kamara, Pittman, Trey Lance, and when you got to plug in Breece Hall and Antonio Gibson, and that's never a great sign. That's for sure. So I'm worried for them. The injuries are piling up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to get you while you're still walking because it just makes it better.
There's a killer out there in Boston, Ant, so stay away from the Charles.
So, Ant, Trey Lance goes down 2 points. He's out. He's out for the season. Huey does not have a QB. Oh, no, he has Tom Brady. I'm so sorry. I'm confusing with someone else. But Trey Lance goes out. Tom Brady also hasn't scored more than, I think, 13 points in 2 weeks.
No, I'm not getting rid of him. I'm not getting rid of him.
You're not getting rid of him.
That's the question.
So what do you see as the saving grace at the quarterback position for Huey Lewis? Is there a guy out there, and we're heading into waiver pickups, that can salvage this season for Huey Lewis in the news?
I think Huey's poached. I think his running backs kind of stink, and he's got no quarterback.
Running backs stink, and he's got no quarterbacks. Ty,
I think Captain Kirk is coming back home to Huey Lewis in the news, and he's going to salvage the season, right? He's going to learn to throw and bring Huey Lewis to the promised land.
Because who else is out there?
That's exactly right.
Well, if you're looking at these quarterbacks that are available, who is out there?
I mean, the pickings are slim, to say the least. I mean, do you take a flyer on, Jameis Winston and hope maybe that he's going to do something? The other guy, Garoppolo, I mean maybe.
Honestly, at this point, he's got to stream quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He's got to look at the best matchup, whatever scrub he can pick up. And
I gotta kind of agree with that.
Jimmy G is a streaming quarterback for sure. I don't know that you want to plug him in as a long-term solution.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady, I don't know what's happening down there. Like that team is a bit of a mess.
Yeah, well, I think he checked out. I don't know if his heart's in it. Like
Giselle's in his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't fault him.
Nah,
There's no doubt. On the other side of the ball, no lineup needed comes up with a huge performance. This team is now really rolling 2-0. They put up 148 this week. I don't see weaknesses. Hawkinson was limited at practice today, which is a concern because they don't have a backup tight end.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, they're really going to continue to get production out of everyone there. We'll talk about next week, but for right now, I'm pretty happy with what no lineup needed is shown. Let's move on. Let's move on to your game. This is the third game we're going to talk about. It's a shame that we waited because the high score of the week for week 2 in BARFF is the Boston Beans taking out the Springfield Rifle with a huge 189 to 135 performance. Ant, tell us a little bit about your game this week.
It's a shame that I had my captain on the bench, but no problem. My backup quarterback played a perfect game as well. What do you have, like 37?
He did.
And then everybody else just kind of went off. Not concerned that the Raiders players I had didn't do anything. We still put up 189. This is a warning shot to the rest of the league that the Beans are coming this year.
As well it should be. Well, this is a huge performance. If you're the Springfield Rifle and you put up 135, you expect better, and you get crushed. Your thoughts on this? Is this a statement game for the Beans or an anomaly?
I mean, before the paper champ comments, I was very complimentary of the Beans, but now after hearing that, I'm not so sure. No, I mean, all that aside, no, I think the Beans, and I said it last week, starting lineup, I think, is very formidable. If any kind of injuries start happening, then I'm not so sure. Miles Sanders hasn't got hurt yet. That's amazing, so that's good. But it's definitely the bench is a little thin, I think, for the Beans. But I guess when you look at the starters, though, across the board, it's a pretty strong team.
It's a solid team. I think Waddle was limited at practice today. I'm not sure whether that was maintenance or not. It's Wednesday. Practices are important, so we've been trying to keep an eye on that. Also on the bench, and I did not see any report on this, George Kittle is still on the bench, and that's as an upgrade. Tyler Higbee goes 14 this week. But when George Kittle comes back, this lineup should be clearly amazing. Ty, the Las Vegas players have an off week. Concern?
No, I think they just put up a dud there. They came out strong. I'm like, Devontae Adams getting the touchdown on the first drive there. Like, all right, going to be another 20+ point week for him, and then they just threw up an egg the rest of the game. I think it's just one of those. You're like, all right, it's going to happen. It's football. Just look on forward here.
Right. Now, Kyle, I know that out here in Western Mass, these us hayseeds, we're not 100% tuned into the rest of the world. And so we have expectations that may not translate into Gotham the way that you guys out in the Bright Lights big city. So we're looking at Tua Tagovailoa, or whatever that quarterback. Tua goes for 44 this week. And he's sitting on the bench, and Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback for a resurgent Philadelphia Eagles team. But out here in Western Mass, we might think Tua is still a bench player. What do the Bright Lights say about Tua moving forward?
As a Tua, I was originally a Tua hater, and then I saw a mirrored video of Tua throwing righty. And man, is he one accurate QB. Just the mirror video making it so he throws righty like everyone else. I'm bought in on Tua. I think if the Beans really did have some, gonads, he would probably put him right in that starting spot because that's his guy. So I'm officially bought in on Tua.
All right, let's go right to the gonads. And what happens next week with your starting quarterback position? The Eagles are scorching red hot right now with Jalen Hurts at QB. However, you cannot argue with how Tua looked. Who do you start next week?
All in the matchups. I know the Finns got the Bills. That's never a good one.
Could be a shootout. Could be a shootout.
I don't know who Philly has.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't truly
can't
don't
think
know.
of it.
I believe it's is it Washington? Washington.
Yeah, maybe the Commanders.
God.
I think.
Oh yeah, Commanders stink too.
They do.
They do. Yes. Great observation there, Tony. Spot on, man.
Yep, there's no doubt.
I like the name football team better. I think they should go back to that.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks
Sounds
for that
classy.
observation.
yeah.
So, Tony, how can you not start Tua? He's got the hot hand.
It's all about the wins. You just keep sticking with what's working.
Sounds like a fraud.
I don't wanna say that.
Just want
I-
to throw that out there, but
It is not.
Hi.
It is not
Hi, how many
solid
rings do
confidence.
you
into
have?
it.
Tony, it's a new season. Go jump.
Oh,
Go
Tyson,
jump in the
it's a
Charles.
year.
Go jump in
always
the
a new
Charles.
season for WTE, huh, Tony?
Always. It's always this is the year.
New season. Guess what? Same standings, pal.
Oh boy.
All right,
I believe
so,
we have the same record there, buddy.
So what I
Are you
will.
gonna win this year yet?
Yes, I have a win. Unreal, man. Unreal. No respect from any of the callers here on the line.
So what I will say is that what we have at the end result of this game is a Boston Beans team that not only put up the week's high score, but now sits at 2-0 and at the top of the BARFF standings. And so good for Boston Beans, regardless of who they start at quarterback next week. It's going to be interesting to see if this streak can continue. Springfield Rifle, hard luck. A 135 beats half the league this week, and they don't get it, which is a recurring theme. I feel for them. I know that pain when you give up the week's high score. Looking at the Springfield Rifles score this week, they got production out of quarterback, out of running back. They got decent production out of wide receiver. It just wasn't to be. And so hopefully the Rifle can come back next week and put up a similar performance, because they were deserving of a win this week. for
Yeah,
sure.
they got to get Derrick Henry on track though.
Yes.
That's a killer when you're number one
Yes.
overall pick is 8 this last week. I don't week 1 he didn't have much either, right?
No.
No,
Yeah,
no, the
so-
Giants shut them down in week 1. And
Yeah.
so what we have is and I don't know what took the league so long to catch up. Last year, Derrick Henry ripped through the league, and the teams are stacking the box. Like, don't you stack the box against Derrick Henry? And so Ryan Tannehill has to beat you.
Yep.
And he has shown he will not. And so that's going to be the theme going forward. Hopefully, Derrick Henry can get on track for the Rifle, and they can get some good production out of there.
Well, he is coming off the injury from last year, too. Don't forget that worst team ever had him and was without him for almost the entire season.
True.
Oh, there's the injury woes for worst team ever. Same thing.
It's always an excuse with this guy.
Start to it, Tony. Come on, start him.
I did not put the chat on the screen. I'm gonna have to go see if we're missing any chat also, because so far the calls have been pretty good. Tyler, let's look at your game this week.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a loss. Last week we talked about your victory. This week we talked about a loss. The Whopper Moppers moving to 2-0, 137-114 over worst team ever. Tell me what cost you this week.
It was Jonathan Taylor. I mean, he has his worst performance in like 2 years with 6 points.
Yep.
I mean, that was
Points.
the difference
I know.
maker right there. And I mean, don't forget, Tom did have 21 from the Buffalo D, which that never.
That has
hurts
been
getting that in your defense,
a trend among the high scores
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
The defense is blowing
So
up.
yeah, I mean, this is one of the ones I'm not too broken up. My receivers had pretty decent weeks, and then when you only get 6 though from your
Yeah, it's hard.
number 1 overall draft pick,
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
I don't know what's happening in Indianapolis. Walt, I'm going to go to you. Have you been looking at this team? This was a team that had, you're not talking about playoff hopes. You're talking about going all the way, and they are struggling in Indy, and they can't even get Jonathan Taylor going this last week.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're it's been 3-4 years now. They've been looking to find a quarterback to replace Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
And they just keep picking these guys that are pretty much, in my point, at the on the back 9 of their career.
Right.
So I think that's it. I mean, I don't. Matt Ryan, to me, he's another guy. I just don't think there's a lot of tread left on the tire.
No, that was that's a stopgap that they had hoped, but you would have thought he had enough in the tank for another run, and it doesn't seem so. They can't protect him also. Whopper Moppers, they have a great week, but Dalton Schultz puts up a 1, and he's hurt. He didn't practice today, and I'm not optimistic about what he's going to do this week, and there's not a backup on the bench.
He's missing a game. It looks like he's going to miss a game.
Yeah,
so.
Kyle, is that a concern? Is this the Achilles heel of Whopper Moppers? Like, they get they're not going to get 39 points out of Amon-Ra St. Brown every week. And is this injury to Dalton Schultz enough to weaken them as we head into week 3?
Yeah, I mean, for Enterprise Tom, I feel like injuries are like always the issue.
Yeah.
Now, James Conner also left the game.
Mike
Dak,
Evans.
no Dalton Schultz. So
Mike Evans is suspended.
Yeah.
It
I
was-
mean, that guy Amon-Ra, though, he's got that dog in him. He like knows every wide receiver that was drafted in front of him and can like name them off. So I like Amon-Ra. So Tom will be okay.
We were concerned about Tom's depth going into
Yeah.
the season, so we're going to see if that kind of is going to play an effect here.
Yeah, I wish I was playing him this week. I'm not seeing a good outcome. He's got way too many guys. Schultz, like I said, Evans suspended. Connor's hurt. And you got Carr, who's been, I cut him. He picked him up. I mean, who the heck knows what Carr's going to do? He's been proven to be very inconsistent throughout.
I agree. Although I will say one of my disappointments coming off the draft this year, and I almost picked him up. So I thought about, I knew Tommy had to pick up a quarterback this week. And so was I going to be that guy? Because it was either Derek Carr or Jameis Winston. I'm like, he's going to pick up Derek Carr. Am I going to pick up Derek Carr? Because
Right.
no one is further down the waiver pickups than Knuckleheads.
Yep.
And then hold that guy hostage. And I didn't do it. And I think Derek Carr is still in a great situation with the weapons that he has.
He should be.
Yeah.
I'm just worried. I don't know. He just never looks really. He's just erratic, I guess.
I
Is
agree.
The best I can
He's
say.
up and down. He
He's
is
just-
a roller coaster.
Yep.
If you want to pick a guy, let's catch up on the chat. We have Christian blowing his nose with an emoji. We've got Sox fan 7687, who may or may not be related to this league, pointing out great points for the pant loads. So that may or may not.
Fan 7687, great listener. Thank you, man.
That's a great listener. I agree. Great, good fan of the show and has been contributing a lot, and we appreciate that. Jordan is weighed in with "I love this pod." Connor and Sully pair is electric, and these guys should wrestle too. We have a lot of back and forth with the trash talk. We're gonna have to bring that to a head at some point. I'm not gonna lie. We need some video of some of these wrestling matches going on. So let's move on to, unfortunately,
Monday Night Heartbreak once again.
Yeah.
So on the pod, we love Sody Pantloads. 1-1 on the season. They take on Knuckleheads. Knuckleheads trying to win a game. One time. Sometime, and the Knuckleheads fall once again, 149 to 132 to Sody Pantloads. Sody goes to 1-1. Knuckleheads fall to 0-2, and it's a total heartbreaker. These Monday night games, first, the fact that there's 2 Monday night games makes me angry. I like things to be the way that they're supposed to be.
Agreed.
I truly, let's go off the topic. I don't like this Thursday thing being something that you have to pay for. To me, that's ridiculous for this league.
Yep.
But going back to this game, when I'm getting 48 from a quarterback and 32 from a receiver, I expect to sit back. I'm looking at my winning percentage. I threw this out in the chat. It was like a 70% win, and then I'm watching it just come back on the dial. Walt, were you following any of this, and what did you think about this game?
Oh yeah, that's my favorite thing to do is just watch that percentage when it inches back the other way, and you're just like, no. Oh yeah, I watched it. I could actually. It was even funnier because Arizona, like Vegas, they were just Arizona looked lifeless in the game.
Yes.
They weren't doing anything, and then all of a sudden Murray's running around like a madman back there. He gets that rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
He goes from like 5 points to like 20 points in a blink of an eye, and then he had a really good day with 27. And then Stephon Diggs. I mean, it looked like it reminded me when we played flag football at the in the Common in Aldenville in Chicory when no one could play any defense. But Stephon Diggs, it was like, are they trying to cover him? It was, and he went out like halfway through the third quarter.
it didn't need to do any more. There was nothing else left to do.
So, that was an amazing performance.
Also, Tennessee is the number 1 seed in the AFC last year, and they have looked so god-awful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kyle, tell me about your victory this week. Good for you. I'm a little concerned about your running backs, but let's hear from you.
Commish, I would normally come on to gloat about my Monday Night Miracle, but the fact that it was on the downtrodden knuckleheads makes it, a little harder to do it.
But he'll still do it. He'll still do it. Though.
I mean, he can't stop. He can't stop.
He can't help.
I mean, that's fine.
But
I appreciate that.
I did have the list of complaints ready if I did lose. Like Allen Robinson, I think Matt Stafford has a preference for certain wide receivers over others. And then also, Cortland Sutton got a touchdown call back. I had those ready, but luckily, thank you to Stephon Diggs, I get to just talk about how great it was watching that, and it feels good being here 1-1 instead of 0-2.
Yeah.
So, what's your plan for Zeke going forward? You still have faith, or?
Well, I took him out of my lineup today, but then I saw who I'm playing this upcoming week, and I saw his worst team ever. So the guy that I think, if he doesn't win a championship this year, he should get relegated.
Whoa!
Wow! He get relocated to Louisville, Colorado. My great girlfriend Ricky should take over his team because she's more competent fantasy owner.
Wow!
But anyways, I think my running back room's fine. I got some depth.
What depth do you have at running back?
Damian Harris, the touchdown machine. Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Chase Edmonds, who's getting out-touched, I believe, by his backup.
It's a committee, man. It's week 2. He'll be back this week.
You want a committee as your number 2 running back?
When did I say he's my number 2 running back? I said Damian Harris, the TD Machino is.
I won a championship, man.
You know what? Although I have 2 calls on the line, I believe I'm getting some bleed from one into the other.
I think you are.
And so let's just go to Ant. Ant, we're looking at So Deep Antloads going to 1-1, taking out the Knuckleheads. Your thoughts on this game this week, and we'll talk about next week later. So tell me about So Deep Antloads this week, and how did you see them as deserving of this win?
I saw him getting the win all the way. Sunday, he was stressing out big time. I yelled at him. I'm like, man, you got to relax. You're winning this game. Monday came around. He was like, I need this from this guy, this from this guy. I told him, you're going to win. It's easy.
Tony, I got to ask the question. Did you get behind him and just start kind of massaging his shoulders to, relax him? What's going on in that apartment, man?
I was going to say, that's only first base, man. We get home.
All right, well, let's take some control of this show back over. So, what did you see? So Deep Antloads takes out the Knuckleheads 149-132. Was there a path to the victory for the Knuckleheads, and was Monday night just that much of a thing?
I mean, it's tough. I mean, you got 132 points. You would have beat a bunch of teams this week. I mean, it's just really hard. It just, again, it's one of those games you got to just say, okay, and just move on. You can't explain it. You had a good week. Just, again, he had a couple of anomalies, with Diggs getting a 45. And like I said, Murray coming off the carpet and throwing up 27 points. So, I mean, I like your team going forward. Yeah, I mean, you got Jackson, you got Kupp, you got DJ, you got guys who can score. Jeff Wilson, I think, will be solid. I think you're going to be in it. Of course, I've been saying that for 2 years.
I hate my team.
Keep waiting for
I hate my team moving forward, and you'll see that based on the waivers that are coming in tomorrow. Also, Tony, I appreciate you supporting Sodi the way that you did. Good for you. That's a good friend and a good co-owner. And also, I hate you a little bit based on the feedback that you gave about how he had it. Because, no, it looked like the Knuckleheads were going to win, and then they didn't win.
And moving on to the Week 3 preview.
Let's move on. Let's go to scoreboard for Week 3. So we are already, this is also a little bit spooky. We're in Week 3. And so the season's moving by very fast. Let's look at the games coming up, including, this is a great matchup for this week. Walt, I'll start with your game. Born to Run is going to take on Boston Beans. The first-ranked team, high score from this current week, taking on the defending champs. How do you see this matchup going this week?
So, it looks like I'm a 10-point underdog, which, looking at matchups, I can kind of understand that. You got Hurts against the Commanders. I mean, who wouldn't like that matchup? I'm not exactly loving the Raiders against Tennessee either. Tennessee seems like they can't stop anybody. But, J-Dub against Buffalo, okay, that's pretty cool. I don't think Kittle's going to play. So some of those are okay, and Najee, I think, he's not doing anything right now.
Against Cleveland, though. This is the game to get him back on track.
Yeah, maybe, but he hasn't done much, though. So, yeah, I really need Dobbins to play this week so I can get Stevenson out of it.
He practiced today. He practiced fully today.
Okay.
Yeah, Jake.
Yeah, and I think Penny, they'll correct that. I don't think he only had, what was it, like 8 carries or something a real low number. So I don't think we're going to see that again.
Right.
But the parts I like, which I think gives me the chance, Jefferson against Detroit.
Yep.
Loving that matchup. And Chase against the Jets. Even though the Jets D not bad, but
last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think I'll get some good output from those guys. Andrew's a stud. So I think it's going to be close. I actually think it's going to come down right down to the wire again. So I'll say Tony's got the better chance, but I think I'm going to be right there, and hopefully I can squeak one by.
All right, Ant, what do you think about that analysis? How do you see your week going this week?
Let me bring my phone back over to him. He's making stuffing right now.
He's making. Did you say stuffing?
He did say stuffing.
And is that to prepare for when you slay the Under Dragon, or no?
That would be the Ender Dragon.
Ender Dragon.
Hold
I'm
on.
sorry.
Let's give Ant a time to do what he needs to do in the kitchen. Ty, what do you think about this lineup? Boston Beans taking on Warner.
Beans was kind of shitting on me over here, but I think his matchups are a little bit better than Born Runs this week. I think the Harris and Chubb, Cleveland and Pittsburgh D kind of going against each other. I think that's a favorable matchup for his 2 running backs.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about. I'm pretty sure I saw Waddle on the injury list, and I'm not sure that was from Sunday. I'm wondering if it was from practice.
That would be nice.
But I'm.
He's got a tough matchup anyways against Buffalo D.
That's true.
That Buffalo D is no joke.
That
entire Buffalo team is no joke.
And if Tony was a man and not making stuffing in the kitchen, he would start Tua against me. But
no backbone by that guy.
Not at all. None.
Kyle, let me ask you this while we're talking about this matchup. From your perspective, and I understand that this is a Charlestown solidarity situation, and I don't want you to go against that. But I do want you to tell me, if you were the owner of Boston Beans, would Tua be starting this week?
Does this take into account his fandom, like his mindset?
I think this 100% has to take into account his
no
fandom.
question.
Absolutely.
Then he just bought his second Tua jersey. He better be the fucking.
Yes. That makes me pretty happy. All right, then yeah, I agree. I would like, to be honest, it would make me happier if Boston Beans is going to have as good a season as they have started out to. It's a long season, but I would prefer that, to be honest, that Tua be leading the Boston Beans.
Yeah,
it just makes me happier. Just no doubt. Ty, let's look at your game this week. You're taking on. This is a Civil War game.
Civil War game.
And we have all the participants on the line, just as in the last game-ish. No one's in the kitchen that I'm aware of right now. You're taking on Sody Pantload's worst team ever is a slight underdog. Sody is up 123 to 119. It is Wednesday. We know that these projections don't take into account waiver pickups or lineup adjustments. Ty, tell me about your game this week.
No, I like my matchups, what I got going on this week. I love Teagan's against the Jets. Deontay Johnson against Cleveland.
Yeah.
Mike Thomas against Carolina. I think those 3 receivers are probably what's going to be, make or break. I fully expect Jonathan Taylor to get back, on stride here. He'll put up 20-something, there. And Barkley, Dallas D keeps surprising everyone that it's pretty decent, but, another Monday night game, it very well could come down to him.
I agree.
Once again.
I agree with Micah Parsons. I think it's going to be a matter of how quickly can Daniel Jones get the ball out of his
rid of the
hands,
ball.
and that's going to be a lot of dump offs.
And that could be a lot of dump offs.
Yeah,
You're right.
He can't
He
wait.
could be feasting on that, and I'll take that.
They're gonna put Parsons up against the rookie tackle on the right side, Evan Neal. He's a monster, but he's a rookie. And Micah Parsons is the most fearsome defensive player in the NFL right now, outside of Aaron Donald. To me, they're the same. So. That'll be interesting. That will benefit you with Saquon. On the other side of the ball, Kyle, you're favored right now. You've got some good matchups, especially if Allen Robinson can get them tracked. I see Stephon Diggs. He just came off a 45-point performance last week, and now they're going down to take on Miami, which is a team that has shown that it can put up like lights out numbers. This could be a shootout. Do you see this matchup with worst team ever being difficult for you this week?
Oh, I cannot wait to be enjoying a nice homemade pizza pie from BTR. Just stomping this kid's face.
We know where this is going. Why'd you even ask it?
It's gonna be no problem. He's not gonna put up any fights. Piece of cake.
This is a show. I have to ask these questions. Let him answer.
That's right. Yeah, you gotta.
Yes. So yes, there is the pizza situation that's going to go on. It's going to be pretty terrific. Concerns. I don't see any concerns on the Sody Pantloons side of the ball.
I mean, what about Dalvin Cook? Again,
I
not
have one
having
concern,
much.
Actually, it's that Kyler Murray, Call of Duty's new beta is coming out to try out the game, and he does way worse when it's like a Call of Duty double XP weekend. So I'm worried about him this weekend. That's the only guy.
I'm worried about him a lot now, having heard that.
That's why they had the thing in his contract that he can't game as much.
Oh boy, that's good.
But he's still my quarterback. He's my captain.
Yeah, and he's a good one, but boy, I don't need to hear these things.
Moving on.
No lineup needed, taking on the Springfield Rifle this week. No lineup needed, 2-0-0. The Springfield Rifle, hard luck after a 135-point performance, going to 0-2. Right now, no lineup is projected to go hard, 129 to 119, a 10-point victory. That is our largest, I believe, margin of victory predicted on Wednesday. Let's go to Walt. What do you see? Do you see this going as predicted, no lineup taking out the Springfield Rifle, or did the Rifle pick up their first win of the year?
It's going to be an uphill battle for the Rifle to pick up their victory. I mean, you remember what Tyreek Hill did against Buffalo in the playoffs last year? I think he had like a billion points. So even though you would say, oh, that's a tough matchup, Tyreek Hill has done really well against Buffalo historically. I like Mahomes, Eckler against Jacksonville, Montgomery against Houston. If Gabriel Davis is there against, I just like it. He's got good matchups.
My fault. Keep going.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, the Rifles, Jones against Tampa's tough. Debo against Denver is going to be tough. I don't like the matchups.
Not good matchups for him.
No, I mean, other than Josh Allen, I think Josh Allen will get his, but you got Mahomes, so I think that'll be pretty close to offsetting that. So, yeah, no lineup needed. I think is going to prevail.
No, I agree. I mean, Derrick Henry, too, he's had an awful start, too, so he's relying on him with the rest of
exactly.
that. So, yeah, I mean, I think no lineup needed.
Yeah,
has a pretty big advantage going into this game.
Yeah, if Henry doesn't get 20 this week, I would start the panic. Pull the alarm, because it definitely would be time to panic on him.
Is Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes the same matchup that it was last year?
Actually, I think it's a better matchup this year.
I would agree.
Yeah, Mahomes looks good now. Yeah. He looks like the guy we saw 2 years ago, not the guy that I drafted, hoping he was going to be, because last year, man, he was rough on me.
Yeah, Josh Allen, that whole Buffalo team looks like such a juggernaut right now. I apologize. I'm looking to pick up our callers who we dropped. But that Buffalo team looks just a next level to me.
For sure.
And I worry about Patrick Mahomes, although he has done great things this season. He's played hard. He does. Like, I don't want to make the loss of Tyreek Hill worse than it is, but he's lost weapons, and so we'll see. We'll see how the season goes as far as whether or not they're picking up more on that. Austin Eckler versus Derrick Henry. You would have called that a wash a couple of weeks ago, and now that's or not a wash. You would have said Derrick Henry is the favorite.
Definitely.
Now it's more of a wash. Yeah. So that's difficult. Kyle, do you see in this no lineup needed versus Springfield Rifle? Does the Rifle have a path to victory?
Kyle's gone, I think.
Is he back at the stove stirring the stuff?
Nope, that would have been me.
It's all done now, Tony.
He should.
Yeah.
He
Okay,
should
good.
be on. And tell me about this matchup then. The Rifle 0-2 taking up no lineup. Is no lineup going to go 3-0, or is the Rifle going to pick up their win?
Hold on, let me see. Ooh, no lineup in Springfield Rifle. Desperate week for Springfield Rifle. He needs a win here, or he can just pack it in and get ready for next year.
Wow.
Hey, wait.
After 3 weeks.
Let's not go so hard on the 0-2s. I don't disagree though. This is BARFF. If you look at
It's too competitive of a league.
I agree.
Yep.
If you look at the bottom of the standings right now, it's no lineup, and not no lineup. Springfield Rifle, the Knuckleheads, and Huey. And if any of those teams go 0-3,
Well, we're gonna have one.
Well, one of them
One of them
somebody's
is.
somebody's
Someone's
getting their
going
win.
on.
Somebody's
wearing
getting
the
a
collar.
win.
yeah, let's talk. I guess we'll move on then. Let's I'm rooting for no lineup to go hard. But I do want the Springfield Rifle to pick up a win because I am in that boat, and we'll look at Knuckleheads versus Huey Lewis in the news. 2 0-2 teams. Knuckleheads are barely predicted to go ahead. It's Wednesday. It's too early. Tyler, tell me about any path to victory for either of these two teams.
So your path to victory is 2 players, Lamar Jackson and Cooper Kupp. If they can have a respectable week, I think you will win this game.
But I had that last week.
You did, but you also were playing the Pantlows. Probably, I'll go with probably the luckiest owner in the league, right behind Huey Lewis.
There's no problem.
Yeah, there's no probably. I mean, he's right there. So, attribute that to that. I think, I do like your position here because there's no guarantee Kamaro's even going to play this week again. So Huey Lewis could be having to patch that hole as well, and he still has Antonio Gibson in the lineup. So.
True. Well, tell me about this game this week. Do you see? Tell me who you see coming out on top.
Well, I want to know if this is a mistake. Is that truly Jacoby
You have
Meyer?
reached the maximum time permitted for recording your message. If you're satisfied with the message, press 1.
I don't know.
We must went to Sody Pantlow
I think
voicemail there.
that went to
that
the
was the
voicemail.
I think he took a call
If you're
from Huey
satisfied
Lewis
with
in
the
the
message,
news.
press 1. To listen to your message, press
Walt,
2.
keep going. Tell
Oh,
me about
yes.
this.
Well, I want to know how Jacoby Myers got in the lineup before I. Is that due to injury or was that a conscious decision?
This is a conscious decision.
Oh, no.
So listen, I have DJ Moore, who hasn't done a damn thing, and because Baker Mayfield is Baker Mayfield,
Yep.
I'm not understanding how this guy gets brought into Carolina as like a savior. He is Sam Darnold. They were 1-2 in the draft years ago. 2 terrible decisions.
Oh yeah.
And so DJ Moore is not going to get to play. I don't think he's catching 90 balls this year. And then we have DK Metcalf, who's playing with Geno Smith. Now, I had him in last week because people were saying that Geno Smith also still has an NFL starting quarterback job, had a chemistry with DK Metcalf, and it just hasn't panned out. Jacoby Myers, what else do you have in New England? There are some waiver plays going on heading into tomorrow on this lineup. But Drake London is the number 1 wide receiver in Atlanta, and they don't have anyone else other than Kyle Pitts. And so this is how this is going to roll. I have too much garbage in this lineup to make too many other decisions. Cam Akers is garbage. DK looks like he's going to be a tier 3 wide receiver, and DJ Moore is simply going to be tied to Baker Mayfield for the season.
Yeah, so interesting on those because I agree. I think Geno, the ceiling is only so high for him. Even though I heard Pete Carroll today saying that he's going to let Geno pretty much do what Geno wants to do instead of kind of, make him more of a game manager. So maybe you might see more passing out of Geno, but I don't know. That might be a smoke screen.
And we'll see all that dynamic Geno Smith
Yeah, I know
ability at play.
exactly.
I'm sure that the opponents will just fall to their knees.
I don't hate the Drake London play though, because Kyle Pitts is getting double covered, and he's the only one. He's the only one who can catch the ball. Someone has to catch the ball.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that could work out well for you.
Yeah. So I think I heard Pittman's going to play, so even though he's questionable, I don't think there's any doubt. But if the News lose Kamara and Fournette, and then they don't play, and like I said, Brady looks like he's checked out. I don't like his team. I'm just going to flat out say it. I think Mike Williams. If Keenan Allen comes back, Williams is not the guy you saw last week. So I do think, that you have a very good chance of notching that first victory. Hopefully Jacoby Myers doesn't come back to haunt you, and DJ Moore, triples the output. But I think this could be it.
Jacoby Myers might save my team. So what I will say about Huey Lewis, I never count them out. They are, to me, scarier at 0-2 maybe than at 2-0, and he has an empty bench spot and a couple of queues, and so I wonder what tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. is going to look like when Huey Lewis is done with his waiver pickups and whatever transactions he has going on. So we'll see. I'm not optimistic, but I will say for myself, Huey Lewis and the rifle. I hate to be this person, but history has proven if you're 0-3, you're a spoiler.
Well, according to Tony, back it up because the season's over.
Yeah. And I can't keep packing up these seasons. I can't. I just don't have it. I can't.
That's a lot of years of playing spoiler.
Yeah. I haven't been relevant since like 16. It's a long time, and so yeah. So let's look at the final game on the agenda for this week. The Whopper Moppers taking on the Denver Soaring Eagles. This is a 2-point spread so far for Denver Soaring Eagles. It is a pick'em. And if you're a betting man, which team do you take in this Whopper Moppers versus Soaring Eagles matchup this week?
I think I'm riding with the Soaring Eagles all the way.
All right. Yeah.
Not just because it's the Whopper Moppers and it's Tom.
But that might be part of it.
I gave a pause on that answer.
Somewhat of a factor, yeah.
I gave a pause on that answer because of what I was waiting for was I think Soaring Eagles takes out the Whopper Moppers because Tom's a fraud.
Tom is a fraud. I'm glad you agree.
No, I don't agree. I was just saying that's what I expected you to say.
Oh, I thought you were saying that.
Negative. You're not going to hear that from Knuckleheads HQ. Walt, what do you think about this matchup?
I don't. If there's a good chance, I don't know. Justin Herbert, it's a rib cartilage issue, which everything I heard is that's a very painful injury and takes a long, long time to heal. And I don't know if he's going to use the same doctor that put the hole in Tyrod Taylor's lung. So I don't know. Justin Herbert don't play. I think that's a big hit for the Soaring Eagles. And I know that the Whopper Moppers lose James Conner potentially, but you notice he put in Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel has been quietly had 2 really nice weeks.
Yes.
So I'm a little concerned for the Soaring Eagles. I'm not sure. Swift is still say less than 100%. And
Swift didn't practice today.
He didn't, so that's not good.
No. We said it last time, though. He kind of lives in questionable, and
he is accused.
Exactly.
It's tough to take that into account until
if he was limited. I was looking to see if he was limited today or out, and it looked like he was out today. And so that on Wednesday, that's rough. That's not saying he's such a talented guy that they'll put him in game time decision, but it's not good if you don't practice on Wednesday.
Yeah. So I think the line is going to be exactly what pans out. I think it's going to be a really close game because Schultz, if he doesn't play. And Pitts is going to break out at some point. It's gotta. So
someone's going to decide to cover London.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this could be the closest game of the week, in my opinion.
Yeah, this could be an interesting squeaker. So the Sox fan 7687 clearly made contact with Sody Pantlows and communicated with us that
that's great.
The phone died, and And we also have a request for a pizza for Sunday to be sent to Colorado. Is that a thing? Can we get a homemade Born to Run
Wow.
pizza
That's
shipped to Colorado in an edible form?
I've always toyed with the idea of freezing and then maybe packaging that way.
I feel
So
this is a challenge.
yeah, so maybe we'll see what we can do.
We'll work on this problem for sure. That's an interesting it's an interesting point. So yeah, this Whopper Moppers versus Soaring Eagles situation is an interesting game in so far as the outlook for the season. So it's early. No one knows that the Springfield Rifle isn't going to be sitting on top of the standings, or Huey Lewis, or it's not going to be the Knuckleheads. But one of those, no one knows right now. But this is the Whopper Moppers are a team looking to make that move. Soaring Eagles is always around that. And are one of these teams going to break through? To me, this is the game of the week. Looking at the matchups, I'm going to say I'm going Soaring Eagles on this one if DeAndre Swift plays, which I think he might because of the way that Detroit handles their injury reports. But I don't believe that. Like Curtis Samuels had a great time. Dalton Schultz, I don't think is going to play. It's just a bad week for Whopper Moppers. And it's a good situation for Soaring Eagles. Yep. So let's that's this week.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
we got a lot. We're gonna all be in person.
Yes, we are gonna have a great time on Sunday.
We will.
For whoever can make it, anyone that hasn't already weighed in on whether they're going to be at Born to Run HQ, please do, so that there can be enough dough balls.
Correct.
Because
That's
there's nothing
critical.
worse than having not enough dough balls.
Yep.
Gotta have those
Gotta
balls.
have balls.
You gotta have those
If you don't have
balls.
enough balls, you're not going to have a good day.
Get out
And
of this league.
Correct. So that's what we need for Sunday, and we're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
We appreciate Born to Run opening up the kitchen and the viewing area for the league.
Yeah, no, I look forward to it. Just a reminder, there's no wrestling allowed. It's strictly prohibited. So, we can arrange that at a later date. But this is a gentleman's party.
Count the Whoppers and Tony out then.
Yeah.
Oh, tell that to Tom.
Well, I think what we can do then, we can though promote and we can set up these matches for a later time.
Yeah.
Because we do. I said in a private talk with Walt, we do need some bits for this show. We're setting up this live. Clearly, after tonight, we still have some glitches with live, but it's coming around, and we need to do some bits. And if it has to be combat, then it'll be combat.
So be it.
That's fine. All right. I want to thank Sody Pantloads for calling in. They can't acknowledge because their phone is dead. Ant, thank you very much for calling in tonight. It was great to hear from you tonight.
It's an honor.
Hey, Tony, bring that stuff in on Sunday, why don't you, all right?
Yeah, we'll see.
Is that stovetop, Tony, or what do we got?
Yeah.
A little
Graham
stovetop.
made it.
Nice.
It's nothing wrong. I'm not gonna lie. Now I want a little stovetop.
Hey, Tony, can you bring cookies from your
those?
What is it? Your grandmother made?
Graham?
What?
Those cookies
Cookies.
your grandmother made.
I don't remember which ones you had.
Oh, I don't either. Ask Kyle. They were really good.
All right.
I don't know what's happening here. I'm just glad no one's slaying some kind of goddamn dragon after this.
No
That's
dragon
making
slaying.
everybody
That's
mad.
later. We're doing the Wither Boss.
And I didn't need to know that either.
Yeah, no.
And so thank you to Worst Team Ever for coming in the studio again. It's great always to have you in.
Of course.
And co-host of the show, Walt, another good show.
No, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was good fun, and we'll see everyone next week. We'll hopefully have less tech issues, and we're going to stop now. Good night, everyone. Good luck to all.
Good luck, everyone.